What's up, Eagles Nation? What's going on, NFL world? How you doing, Division Rivals? This is Stephen Hyder. It's Gate City Sports Channel. Sports Channel where the cerebral NFL fan comes for about 10 minutes of daily content. Today's topic, you guys probably guessed it. Yesterday, news broke that the Philadelphia Eagles have traded tight end Zach Ertz to the Arizona Cardinals in exchange for cornerback Tay Gowan and then a 5th-round pick in the 2022 draft. A lot to break down here, guys. I want to just start off by just talking about Zach Ertz and just being appreciative of who Zach Ertz is as a player for the Philadelphia Eagles. Look, Zach has definitely had his moments in Philadelphia to where we've gotten a little frustrated with Zach. I know a lot of people have expressed opinions on my channel that they felt that Zach may have given it less than 100% last year. Sometimes, guys, it's hard to tell. I don't know if I necessarily buy into that just because I know the mind of an athlete. It's really hard to hold back if you're an athlete, so I'm not too sure I buy that. But I do think that struggles that he was having external to football showed on the football field last year. I don't necessarily know that it was an intentional, like I'm not going for that ball because I'm not going to give myself I don't think that stuff was happening. I just think that what happens outside of the realm of football can leak into football and can affect your practice habits and things like that. And I'm pretty sure he had frustrations over his own health over the past, ending 2019, going into 2020. He was just never really right, from a physical standpoint. With that said, look, guys, we all remember the no yak Zach stuff and all that. And look, some of it's true. I mean, Zach Ertz wasn't a great yards after the catch tight end. I mean, that's factually true. But with that said, man, I mean, there's a lot of love and appreciation for Zach Ertz and everything he's done in Philadelphia, guys. Because, you remember, I took a look at and I broke down first down production, because there was this big theory, and I talked about this, about creating offense versus a guy that basically you have to, guys you have to create offense for versus guys who can basically establish their own offense. And a good marker of that is on what teams do on first, second down, early down production. And Zach Ertz had a tremendous span, good like 5-6 year span to where he was top 5 in the league in terms of early down production. And I mean, Zach Ertz meant a lot for this offense for a long time, to be quite honest. And I'll always remember that touchdown reception in the Super Bowl and just the incredible game he really had in the Super Bowl. It's tough, man. I predicted this was happening. If you guys remember way back in the offseason, following the Washington football team game, I was actually on vacation, and I needed topics that I could pre-do while I was on vacation and put out for you guys in the hotel room. Little did I know that one of those things would become one of the bigger topics in videos I made in the offseason. And it was where I was kind of predicting, judging from the salaries on the Eagles, where we were going to see things like restructuring, cuts, and trades happening. And I broke down all the numbers, and I broke down why something may or may not happen. And then you guys remember, I listed like 8 to 12 players. They were like Javon Hargraves and Alshon Jeffrey, D. Jax, and Fletch, and all these guys. You guys remember Zach Ertz. I talked about basically where these top 12 players stood in terms of the finances. I looked at their contracts, and I gave you guys opinions on what happened. Some of this stuff took a lot longer to get around to than what we thought, and there were definitely surprises along the way. Like, you guys remember when Howie said that we didn't need Lane Johnson to rework his contract? Then, of course, Lane Johnson did rework his contract later, but we were all sitting here like, well, that's news to me, judging from the salary cap issue we're up against, that we wouldn't need one of the highest paid players on the team to rework his deal. But in the end, the majority of those 8 to 12 players we saw either restructures, they were cut, or there's been trades with these players. So, we're going to miss Zach Ertz, guys. Zach Ertz he's an all-time great for the Philadelphia Eagles. This is a player that, like, he's one of my favorite players of all time. He's a crafty route runner. He's had, steady hands, although early in the season he had a couple of really frustrating drops, and I'm pretty sure he would admit, like, they were frustrating. I remember the first, I think it was the first week in Atlanta where he dropped a conversion, a third down conversion, and it was like, oh, that's not good. But nonetheless, like, Zach Ertz, he's going to a competitor in Arizona. It's an undefeated football team so far. We'll see what happens this weekend against Cleveland. But they're giving him a chance to compete late in his career. I don't know, guys. I mean, like I said, he's in the last year of his contract. Who knows if Arizona's going to come to an agreement over the valuation of what they want to pay a guy like Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz could be back on the market again next year. So, I mean, we'll see. I mean, I don't know that there'll be a reunion to Philadelphia, but I love the fact that when Zach Ertz spoke, he said, look, I was born in California. I'm going to be finishing out my, this season in Arizona, but my home is always going to be Philadelphia. And, it was greatly appreciated. It just goes to show how much former players really appreciate this city. And I think that speaks volumes, guys. They love the city. They love the environment of the city. Football rules Philadelphia, and we know that. Followed closely behind by the Sixers in basketball, to be quite honest. But football rules the city, and we know that. Dallas Goedert, it's going to be a big thing for Dallas Goedert, guys. I'll say this. I do think that to some extent we needed to simplify things and get guys more involved. And I think this is a way of doing that, right? I mean, we need to see Quez on the field more. Rager's got to develop. They've got to do something here with Rager. He's too talented of a player to have this lack of production we're seeing. Like, this is why I keep screaming at Nick. Maybe it's a good idea for Nick to give up play calling for the greater good of the team. Not because I think Nick is a particularly bad play caller or any of that. I think there's complexity to all those things, guys. I just think that he's better suited overseeing the football team as a manager right now and ensuring development. Because I think the bigger issue is with development. A guy calling plays off a sheet, anyone can do it. I'm telling you guys, I've done it myself before. Not at the NFL level, at high school level, but I'm telling you, anyone can call these plays. It's not as difficult as people like to think it is. Yes, there are guys that are better at it than other guys. They just have a really good feel for what defenses are doing and how to attack them in the moment, But the bigger, larger issue when it comes to play calling is the game plan you put forth before, and he's still going to be a part of that. So to me, I just think we've got to find a way of developing these players right now. I think development should be king right now because we need to see the expansion. Even of a Quez Watkins, we need to see the expanded role, right? We know that he can do those quick tunnel screens and take it to the house. We know he's got a vertical element to his game and he can go up and go get the football. There's still issues. Like there was one where he had a really bad body positioning on a play that he was trying to get in front of. He's still got to learn where to be in certain route developments and things like that. Like Quez is still a guy that's developing too. It's just that we're getting production out of Quez and we're seeing that Quez is trending upward. A guy like Rager, he's got to get better at the release. Rager's really good at the top of the route stand. He's not so great at the release. He's got to learn how to release at the NFL level. And that's something that your head coach should be involved in, especially with the amount of years he has coaching wide receivers, right? Now we have Dallas Goedert, so now Dallas Goedert can become a focal point of this offense, right? We've got to expand the offensive concept and look, I'm not saying RPOs completely go away. I mean, it's a staple of the offense. I get it. But we can't be so RPO heavy that teams are easily just figuring out, we only need to defend 2 possibilities on these RPOs. We need to be a little bit more varied in how we're approaching the game plan against teams. And we need to open the offense up for Jalen Hurts. I know, I express it as taking the training wheels off, and I don't mean that as if he's a baby in his understanding. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that you need to quit treating him with kid gloves. Let the young man play. We can't say that Jalen can or can't do anything until you give him the freedom to be able to operate the offense fully. Right? I mean, yes, I have a hunch that he's going to struggle with full field reads too. I have that hunch. But I can't say that definitively because we're not asking him to do it. Last game we were playing, Tampa Bay, and they're coming hot. The easiest thing to do here is to replace the defender with a player. And then you make sure Jalen knows where to put the ball. Look at the blitz. Where's the blitz coming from? Replace the extra defender, the extra blitzer, with a player, with a route. That's how you beat the blitz, guys. That's why Brady eats teams up. That's why certain quarterbacks just kill you on the blitz. And to be honest with you, coming into this game, Jalen Hurts has done very, very well against pressure. I just think that getting some of these veteran pieces out and getting the younger guys that are going to be here longer, although we may miss guys like, Zach Ertz, and definitely it hurts, as a guy who's a big fan of Zach Ertz to see him move on. I think for the greater good of the team, simplifying the offense and making sure you're getting the hands into people like Miles Sanders and Dallas Goedert and, Devontae Smith and Quez Watkins and Ray. Now you're having less and less players you need to account for, opening up the offense, making sure you're getting these guys touches, making sure you got to put those staples in there, guys. You got to put those staples in there. It's going to be interesting to see what happens here, guys, with the rest of the roster. I know some guys are speculating we're going to be very active at the trade deadline. I'm not too sure I agree with that statement, just because, you look at guys like Lane Johnson with the unknown status of what's going on with Lane Johnson, how long he's going to be out for. I think that takes a guy that could have potentially been moved at the deadline. I don't think that's going to happen, right? Maybe an Andre Dillard. If you get a Lane Johnson back, you're going to get him back by this particular week. You got a guy like Andre Dillard who's now getting an expanded role. Maybe he's a person that pops up now as being kind of, teams may look at him and say, look, this is an average to above average left tackle, and left tackle in the league is not very good right now, so a guy like Andre Dillard is probably worth gambling on for a lot of teams. Things like that, guys. Brandon Brooks. Brandon Brooks is an older player that, has been dealing with injuries and little tic-tac things like that. And we got guys emerging, We got Landon Dickerson, who's still coming back from his own injury stuff. But, he's emerging on the left side. I mean, maybe they want to see Driscoll take over the role on that right side as a right guard. We'll see, guys. I mean, I still think that there could be things that happen on this football team. But I do generally agree that we're probably not going to be as active at the trade deadline as people think, just because offensively, a lot of our, outside of the offensive line, a lot of our skill position players are younger guys. And then defensively, I mean, maybe a Fletcher Cox, but, I mean, he's got a massive contract, guys. I don't think there's going to be too many teams that want to, I say that, guys, but I have to break down the contract because they backloaded the contract. So if they converted that money into bonus money and then they just basically prorated it over the years, it means the Eagles are on the hook, not necessarily other teams for that money that's been prorated. So actually, a guy like Fletcher Cox might make sense. So something like that I could see, but I think you still have problems with the depth at defensive tackle, so I think even moving a guy like Fletcher Cox becomes problematic. You get what I mean? Because now you're going to have depth issues, even though by prorating the money, if you basically took some of the base salary, converted it into bonus money, gave it directly to Fletcher Cox, and then prorated it to pay back the league in some, lump sum payments over a length of time, the Eagles are on the hook for that, not the acquiring team. So the acquiring team would probably have a more reasonable salary situation with a guy like Fletch, but I'm not too sure the Eagles' depth is right as I look at that. But as I look at that, guys, I don't know what you see at safety. I think if Kevon Wallace was healthy and out there playing, maybe you think about moving a guy like a Rodney McLeod if we're really not contending. But I think depth is an issue at safety. So when I look at the defense, I just kind of look around and I say, we have issues with depth, to be honest. So those are probably moves that will get made in the offseason, not during the season. I can't see us having the depth to move some of these defensive pieces. But we'll see, guys. I mean, there's no way of telling. There's no way of knowing right yet. All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all's time and attention. We'll see what shakes out, man. I mean, like I said, guys, I really appreciate everything that Zach Ertz has done for this organization. He's going to be missed. I do think that in the long run, getting to look at a guy like Dallas Goedert and expanding his role in the offense and getting him the ball without the complication of getting a guy like Zach Ertz the ball as well is going to help. And then let's not forget Tyree Jackson's coming back. And the Eagles are really, really high on Tyree Jackson, the former quarterback out of Buffalo, who also played with the Buffalo Bills on their practice squad for a little while. So Tyree Jackson coming back off of that injury designation, he's set to come back pretty soon, guys. So, I mean, I think the timing was just right to move Zach Ertz. And we'll see what happens, guys. The expanded role for Dallas Goedert, bringing back Tyree Jackson. You got Jack Stoll as your third. We got Noe Togiai back here in Philadelphia as well. He's on the practice squad. He got called up this last game. So, I mean, interesting, guys. Interesting. We're seeing a youth movement. It's piquing my interest. I want to see Nick expand the role of the offense. We need to let Jalen Hurts prove it. Jalen Hurts needs to prove what he can do, and I don't think that Nick has done a good enough job yet of allowing Jalen Hurts to prove it. I'm not saying somebody is or will not be successful. I don't know. I don't know until I can see it, and you have to expand the role for it to be seen. The next 3 to 4 weeks needs to all be about getting Jalen Hurts comfortable to make full field reads and being able to take advantage of matchups. That's what really needs to happen to this offense. Still saying you still run RPOs, you still run the option stuff here and there. I understand getting a quarterback into a rhythm at the beginning of games. I understand all that. But we need to expand the role of this offense with Jalen Hurts. It's not fair to evaluate a guy that you're treating with baby gloves on, with kid gloves on. You can't do that. That's not right. All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all's time and attention, guys, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.